Morning guys, welcome to another video. Today's video is all going to be about a little glimpse into the future. So today I'm going to take you into the future, you lucky guys and girls. We're going to have a little sneak peek into the future. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to paint you a picture of what the world is going to look like. Now, I'm estimating this to be about 10 years-ish time. And this is based on where kind of tech trends are going. So the really obvious one obviously is like AI, talk a bit about that. All the other like kind of big tech trends that some you might be aware of, some you might not be aware of, but I'll basically explain them in detail, what they're about, what the technology is, and then how I think that's kind of going to change the world. And I'll try and finish like wrapping up with like a vision. So you wake up, if you are partaking, let's say, in all of these new technologies, which some of them will become very like ubiquitous, they'll be everywhere. So if you're living in a big city, certainly you probably will partake in at least one of these, I would imagine. Kind of, you know, if it was 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago, I would talk about social media. And as we all know now, that is just kind of ingrained in almost everyone's lives, especially if you're young, if you're of a certain generation. The main one, I think the obvious one, is AI. Obviously, you know, the biggest thing in tech for the last 2 years minimum has been AI. I mean, it's just all everyone's talking about. And now, because, especially with like Apple releasing what they released at WWDC, I don't know if they would have released everything they released at this time if it wasn't for the pressure on every company to just be ahead of the game in AI. You know, the fact that Microsoft took over Apple as the most valuable company in the world, and then Nvidia took over them as one of the most valuable companies in the world. I think Nvidia had the top spot for like a week, didn't they? And Nvidia are just a massive AI company, but at least producing the hardware to create AI to train the large language models. So I think that just shows you, right? And like obviously Meta and Tesla and all the big tech companies are just trying, there's just a race to develop the best AI. So because usually what that means, if you look throughout history, usually because the reason processors have got as good and as fast as they have is because there was so much demand for processors. That demand was just like it was almost impossible to fill for many years, just like AI is now. Like companies can't get enough chips, they can't build enough data centers to train language models. And I don't mean, it will be able to do more and more things, don't get me wrong, it will be able to do infinitely more things and do them more accurately now, because I've heard of plenty of reports where people say that, you know, Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT, you know, they are spitting out incorrect information. So I think in 10 years it will be much more accurate. You know, there'll be less and less like weird things the more it gets used to requests and then matching data with requests. But I think the most important thing where I think it will get to, and I definitely think this is possible now with the release of ChatGPT O, and then probably now with Apple firmly in the space as well, just like pushing things forward and them knowing that it's a really important piece within their, you know, portfolio that is going to kind of, it could make or break Apple. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say because Apple is so big, but honestly, whoever develops the best AI is just going to win. Like they will just smoke everyone else. So I think because Apple are in the space and because, you know, OpenAI just seem to be smashing it out of the park, I think basically AI will get to the state where we will have like AI assistants that are genuine, real assistants. And I think Apple is going to do more and more. It's why it's important that Apple are in the space, because they'll develop platforms where their SDKs, the development tools that they put out for developers, will make it really easy to integrate their AI into more and more apps. So app developers will get more familiar with it. I'm sure ChatGPT will start, you know, they've partnershipped with Apple and Microsoft now, partner with so many more companies. And then that means ChatGPT technology will be everywhere. It's just going to be more integrated into society. And then I think that will lead to an AI assistant like we saw in the ChatGPT. If you've not seen that, I'll add a link to the description of some videos. The last presentation they gave for ChatGPT O was mind-blowing. It was incredible. that the AI was like conversational, making jokes, like completely understanding the context of what you said. It was genuinely really like having a conversation. The replies were like in nanoseconds, apparently at the same speed our brains work. So it was coming back with replies like straight away. It was like really completely understanding context, almost as much as like a human would. They were basically having like almost a human to human conversation with this AI, and had a really nice voice, really conversational. Didn't sound robotic at all. It was phenomenal. And literally based on that, I think in 10 years' time we will have an AI assistant that will be conversational and will be able to do a lot for you. So just imagine just being able to say, you know, like having a conversation with an assistant. The first thing you do is wake up, and you might speak into your phone and carry your phone around. But what I think will happen is earpieces, like headphones, will get just like smaller and smaller and smaller until they fit in your ear and you barely even notice they're there. And with noise isolation technology, rather than just the microphone hardware improving, that will be fine for like calls and stuff, because call quality with like tiny headphones would be bad if the software didn't improve through AI, and make the call quality really good, because it will completely isolate just your voice and blank out everything else. Software is going to do that. Software is going to do everything, but software is just becoming more and more important than the hardware these days. So yeah, I think AI will be a massive trend. Like an AI assistant, I think we'll have a true AI assistant, and that will just totally change things. My next prediction, which will kind of work with the AI assistant, but what Apple, I made a whole separate video on this, so I'll link that in the description, but about Apple Vision Pro. Now, Apple's goal, and this is what they will plow billions of dollars into, is taking Apple Vision Pro and making it into something like the Meta Ray-Ban augmented reality glasses and the Oppo Glasses 3, that are basically, you wear them and then there's certain information displayed on the screen, like the time, your schedule, your reminders. It can like just put up certain information like the weather, and it's like displayed on your glasses, so it's like projected in front of you and then projected on like different surfaces and stuff. That Apple is going to go from Apple Vision Pro, it's going to transform that product, the Vision Pro, into AR glasses. Trust me, it will either, Apple will either release a version of the glasses as soon as they're ready, and then these two products will kind of merge, and then eventually they'll discontinue the Apple Vision Pro, or it will just evolve over, I would say, about 10 years into just a lighter, thinner, more mobile version. That will be their goal with Apple Vision Pro. Trust me, you heard it here first. The goal with Apple Vision Pro and how you will see it evolve won't be to necessarily improve the experience sitting at home. They will focus on what they'll do. The Vision Pro might be something that, yeah, you keep at home, and then they just develop the experience as much as possible and make it a little bit more mobile for your home. But the reason they brought out the Pro Vision first is because soon there will be an Apple Vision. That's coming, 100%, trust me. And that will be like lighter, made from plastic, and they'll make it more mobile. And what they'll do is they'll try and make that a version where the battery goes a lot longer and you can take it outside, because they'll want people to experiment using it outside in the world, walking around, because they want to turn this product, trust me, eventually into Apple Glass. But what I mean by that is Apple glasses. We've already seen some cool renders online, but that's where this is going to go. So you imagine that proper full AI glasses that work really well. So all gesture controlled with your hands. You know, you can do, I don't think people are really going to use them that much for work. Maybe they will, but it'll be like walking around and like imagine like Google Maps works really well and just shows like all your directions, you know, the turn you need to go down and stuff. Your text messages pop up, but where this will really work amazingly and work really well, because you still have to like dip in your pocket. You're not going to be able to like reply to a text. You're only going to be able to like click and select things. You might, like if you're sitting in a cafe or something, you might bring up a keyboard and type, but I think, and you might type like on your phone, but I think what would be amazing is when it's partnered with the AI assistant. And when in 10 years, it might even be longer than 10 years, but I think the future is we get to the point where people find it normal that everyone is like kind of chatting to themselves. Everyone will be like kind of chatting to themselves. It would look weird. Like if you didn't know, if you were from a country that didn't have that kind of technology, you'd be like, what is going on? This looks so weird. They'll have their glasses on and they will be like jabbering away, but they'll be chatting to their AI assistant. Trust me, that's the future. So that's where I think this is powerful, is you have your AI glasses and then you're just conversationally chatting to your assistant. So say a text message comes up in front of your face. Oh no, this is through your AI glasses and you can see it's really clear. And, or that doesn't even happen. You can say to your AI assistant, oh, don't display, just read it to me. So it goes away. AI assistant just reads it in your headphones. And then you just say, and then just like, oh, do you want to reply to that? And you say, yeah, please reply with this. And then you would dictate your message and then bang, that will go. And there'll be more and more things like that where you won't have to take your phone out of your pocket. And then I think phones will change, because then basically if the glasses replace your screen on your phone, which I think they will, I think phone companies will start releasing like a bundle, as in you have a phone and you have the glasses and you have the headphones. Now that will be expensive. That will be like £1,500 or something for all of that tech, maybe £2,000. But you are getting 3 products for one. And that will, because the phone will just be, it won't have a screen, or it'll have a tiny little screen, because you won't need a screen anymore. You'll just have your glasses. And it'll just be like this little brick. And they'll love to do that because it will make phones so much cheaper to make and so much easier to make, because it will just be a processor and a battery, you know, like not really much else. So that's what I think the future is in terms of AI glasses, really discreet small headphones, and an incredible AI system. That's the future. And obviously the glasses will be lightweight, stylish, you know, you won't mind wearing them. They'll look quite cool. And then how will this all be powered? How will you get your data? This is my third prediction, is satellite internet. If you're not familiar, there is really only one company. So other companies have done this before. The US military have done it. You can, you know, if you watch a lot of like military movies, modern military movies, they use like satellite phones. So satellite phones are a thing. They're a lot smaller now. They used to be massive. And now you can get a satellite phone that's actually quite small and discreet, like a modern mobile phone. But that technology to call and like get data via a network of satellites has been around a long time. However, Starlink, which is part of SpaceX, which is like Elon Musk's kind of second company, is to make Tesla, SpaceX. SpaceX years ago started, when they started regularly putting rockets up into orbit, going into space, they started releasing a bunch of thousands of satellites around the world. Now the difference, what they did was, most satellites are in a much higher orbit. What Starlink have done is so if like the Earth is here, most satellites are like here. Starlink have released all of these satellites in a much lower orbit. Now that's for 2 reasons. One, because much lower latency, so the signal will come from the satellite to Earth to your device or whoever's device and bounce back a lot quicker, because the satellites are closer to the Earth. And, you know, Elon Musk wants this to be very, very low latency. And secondly, it's also not many other, it's less busy basically at that lower atmosphere, because most satellites aren't released at that lower orbit, the orbit that, you know, most satellites, because there are hundreds of thousands of satellites in orbit around Earth already. So I think they just wanted to put it at an orbit where it's less populated in terms of satellites and like junk and just whatever else is up there. So this has meant, though, because it's lower, they have to release loads more to cover the entire Earth. So they're still doing it. I think they're available in 100 countries now. I don't think the availability in the countries is necessarily down to how many satellites are up there. I think they have got enough satellites. They've had enough satellites for a long time to cover the Earth, even if it might have been like a bit patchy, to cover all like populated areas, well, and the oceans, because they're selling this service to ocean liners, freight companies that have ships that go across the ocean, and, you know, cruise liners. They're selling, you know, they're having Starlink internet. So it does cover the entire world pretty much. I think apart from like Antarctica and South and North Pole, but maybe one day they'll even do that. But basically, I think they've had enough to cover the whole world for a while, but they're gonna release loads more because the more there are, the better coverage, the more seamless it is if you're moving around, and the better quality of service it will be. So, but what does it mean? So this is basically the internet in space. So how we get internet now, your home modem, all the cables that are in the ground, that will disappear. All the fiber optics in the ground and the internet cables running from your router down the side of your house, under the ground, and then down to basically there'll be a base station. In the UK, this is how it works. I'm not sure for the US, but there's a base station down the end of your road that has loads of connections for loads of houses, and then that runs to like a data center with like servers and stuff. And then they'll all be like linked together, and that's basically the internet. So that will all be redundant, gone, won't need it. You can pull the cables out of the ground. Obviously we won't do that, but like the base stations will become redundant. Maybe they'll still use it for certain things, but that'll all be gone, not needed. You will have a dish on the side of your house that will beam up to the satellites. That's how you get it. Kind of like how Sky TV works now. It's exactly how Sky TV works now. But that's been around, God knows how many years, since I was a kid. So a good, 40 years Sky TV's been around. So it's similar technology, but it will just be the internet, and it will be, everything. That will be everything. That'll be phone calls, streaming TV, use it for work, like everything. And it'll basically be a satellite on the side of your house or in your apartment or whatever, cable run into your house, and then there'll be like a little box, like a router thing. So you will still have a router, but some companies, so T-Mobile in the US, have already partnered with Starlink to offer that data service on their network. As like, if there's no 3G or 4G around, it will then use the Starlink internet service, and it's all included in the user's like package. So you pay whatever it is, 30, 40 quid, and you get the Starlink service. So basically you'll have data everywhere. So if you go out to the middle of the desert, or you go on a hike and you're in the mountains, you will still get service. Whereas someone else, with mobile internet, basically your signal goes to like a mast. So if you look around in high places, there'll be all these like masts on every like tall building. You'll see like a dish of some kind. They're usually like rectangular ones. And that will be a dish that will from one of the networks. It's more complicated than that. I'll do a whole separate video on different types of data, but that's basically how it works. Obviously, this will replace that. So Elon Musk has said that it will be a long time before it replaces mobile internet in like busy urban centers, because they're so ubiquitous and the infrastructure's there now. Right now, they're targeting getting internet to really like remote areas that never had internet before, which is like really cool. But now, what will happen is it will work, like the router will work with like any laptop, but I'd imagine laptops will start coming with a mobile chip that will work with Starlink, and then you'll have your Starlink account, and so your mobile will be your laptop will be able to work with Starlink wherever it is. If you're out and about, you won't have to tether to your phone, or if you've only got it on your phone, like I said, T-Mobile's already got it. I think more and more phone makers have started to do this. So Apple recently have brought out, they recently announced, even last week at WWDC, they announced that you'll be able to send text message via satellite. And this was always the plan. This is why I have this prediction, right? And even if it's not Starlink, I think it will be Starlink. I can't think who else it could be. But Apple have announced that, first it was just emergency calls. Like if you're in trouble, you use the satellite if you're in a remote area. Now they've said that text messages can go via satellite. The reason they're doing that, why bother doing that? Like, why bother offering that service? It's because they see that that's the future, that satellite internet is the future on your mobile phone, on your laptop, and at home. Like, it will just be going in 10 years' time. That is how you'll get your internet. And the advantage is it's everywhere. Like, and it'll be seamless. So you'll use it when you're out and about on your phone, and then exactly how you use your phone now, and then you'll be able to use it on your laptop anywhere again without necessarily having to tether to your phone, or you could do that as well if you don't have an enabled laptop. But then you walk into your house and it's like the same internet, more or less, and it will be really intelligent. It will know that you're home, and then it will start using the dish on the side of your house, or maybe the dishes will become redundant. I think a lot of people just have the dishes when they're in a very remote area. So when they're in a remote area, Starlink sends them a dish, and sends them a dish, and that means they can pick up Starlink in, if they're in the God knows outback of nowhere. Like in the UK, where I am now in London, if you went out, if I moved to the God knows outback of nowhere in Scotland or something where no one else lives, then I would need that dish now to access it. But in future, it could just work with your phone, and then you plug your phone into a dock when you get in, and that provides the internet for your whole house. Like, you have a router that your phone plugs into, and then, that provides the internet for your whole house. Like, who knows? And then if you want to use all the features that you would use on your phone, you'd have like some kind of tablet, like an iPad or something, but like a really cheap one, because all it does is relay what's on your phone. Who knows? But anyway, it's very exciting, right? Trust me, internet, satellite internet, that is going to be the future. And obviously the other one that I think is definitely coming within 10 years is driverless taxis. So, or like robo taxis, whatever you want to call it. I think it's probably going to be Tesla, but whoever does it, whatever company cracks full self-driving, auto driving, whatever you want to call it. But that is going to be absolutely massive, because I don't think it will just be Teslas. I think Tesla might, if they say for example, they did crack it first, I think they would license the technology, because it will make them such an insane amount of money to a lot of other car makers. I think it will create a whole new industry. I think different car makers will produce just taxis with no steering wheel. They're fully automated, and that's like Uber will do this. I think someone like Uber will partner with a car company, and they will just produce these vehicles that are they just carry people. Like, you don't even need a driver's seat. So the taxi could be like for 5 people, 3 in the back, 2 in the front, but there's no steering wheel. So one passenger can be in what you would have previously called the passenger seat, like not the passenger seat, the driving seat. But there is no driver's seats anymore. It's just, well, you would just have 3, because you wouldn't know gear stick or anything. You'd have 3 in the front, 3 in the back. Like, why not in a standard car? This will completely change the world, because even if it's and people think this would just be like linked to EVs because it's Tesla that are pioneering it or whatever. Like, not at all. The driverless technology, if someone like Tesla leases it out, right? They lease out, you need certain specifications of hardware, and they lease it out. It could be for ICE cars as well, like petrol cars or hybrid cars. So you could book a taxi that would take you all the way to Scotland, where you're sitting in the back and sleeping, reading a book, getting loads of work done, whatever you want. Even if you get in a traffic jam, like, you'll be fine, because you'll just be like chilling out, waiting for it to happen, and you won't have to worry about the car running out of power, because it's a hybrid car. Like, maybe it can go for like hundreds and hundreds of miles, like well over the 300-mile limit of an EV car, because this, it's got a petrol motor as well as a battery pack. And then maybe if the petrol gets low, there's just a warning light, and then you have to go and like fill the car up, like, because maybe we don't get to the point where they can fill up themselves with petrol, but it would just pull into a petrol station, you fill it up. Either the company, the taxi company pays for that fuel, or maybe it's factored into every drop, like because it's a really long drive and it's quite expensive. That's whatever it will be, £50, because this will be super cheap, right? Because it's no longer drivers anymore. Uber won't have to pay drivers. You won't. There's no manpower, so it'll just be automated. So it will drop the cost of a taxi ride. And right now, like £100 sounds expensive to go anywhere by taxi, but like, think about it. If you're going all the way to Scotland, a taxi drive that now would cost you an insane amount. Like, that would cost you like 500 quid. Like, no taxi driver is going to do that without charging you something insane like 300 quid, 400 quid, 500 quid. This, you'd be able to go to Scotland or something like that for like £100. Like, I absolutely guarantee it, because it will just be so cheap, and the margin on that will be so high. Literally, all they're paying for is fuel and then the maintenance of the vehicles. There's nothing else. Like, it's so cheap. So it will drop. So short, what you're used to using Ubers for now will become like stupidly cheap. Uber rides in self-driving cars will become so cheap, it will be extremely difficult to justify having a car in a big city. I mean, not many people have cars in big cities now anyway, but I mean, everyone I know as a kid gets a car. But you won't even need that, because you'll have the Uber ride, and it'll come with like kid seats, and you'll be able to get your kids in the back. Having a car will be insane, because it will be so cheap to get anywhere. This will make just transport so insanely cheap. So that is, I think, like a big prediction. Again, it'll all work with your AI glasses, so that'll be telling you how close it is. Your AI assistant will be like, oh yeah, say you were doing a really, really long journey up to Scotland or something, or like a journey that was like 600 miles. And, you know, your assistant would the app would inform your assistant. This is what's going to change. The app won't notify you anymore. What will change is apps will start notifying your AI assistant, and your AI assistant will be like, oh, if it was me, it'd be like, oh, Andy, say I did get an EV car, because I'm very conscious about the planet. It would be like, oh, this EV, the power is getting low. There's only like 30 more miles left. But the service, the taxi service, has already summoned, it's already arranged a different EV, fully charged car to come and pick you up. So we're going to pull in. You can just go and get a coffee, get a snack, or even have dinner. And then this other car is going to arrive 5 minutes after you're dropped off. So it drops you off. You go get your coffee at the services, and then the other car knows exactly where it is. Your AI assistant is like, oh, it's just walk out, go left, and it's the car with the number plate is blah, 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 blah. And you're like, bang, you go find it. And because your AI assistant can see what you can see, because there'll be cameras in the glasses, it can be like, no, not there, not there. Walk a bit further, and it's just look left. It's that one. It's that blue one with that registration plate. So then you'll find it, you'll get in the back, and then your journey will continue. That's what I think is going to happen if EV technology, like the battery technology, hasn't leapt forward. I think what will happen is they'll just hand you over to like different, it'll be like a relay for robo taxis. So imagine you wake up in the morning, maybe you've realized that with this new invention, this new revolution in AI driverless taxis, it's way cheaper for you. Your hour commute is actually way more convenient and nicer, rather than get on a big stinking train with like loads of people in the morning and people breathing on you and it's shoulder to shoulder, and that costs you like a £10, you know, there and back. Or in the UK, we get absolutely ripped off with trains, so God knows what it would be. You probably pay, I don't know, £2,000 for a year's ticket or something disgusting. You're like, no, not doing that anymore, because my journey is like £4, £4 there, £4 back in a robo taxi. So that's what I'm doing. So you wake up in the morning. First thing you do is you wake up a bit earlier than your wife or your husband or your partner. So you want to be discreet. So you get your headphones, you put your headphone in, and then you wake up your phone. You say good morning, and they're like, oh, good morning, and you take your phone into the bathroom, so you can start having a chat with your AI assistant whilst you're in the shower. And you're like, oh yeah, is my taxi ready? Yeah, your taxi's booked. Your taxi's come in at 7:30. Great stuff. Do you want me to play some music whilst you get ready? Oh no, don't play some music. Can you just play me the news, like what happened whilst I was asleep? Maybe you work in finance, right? So you want to know the stocks, like what happened in the US whilst I was asleep. So they're like, this happened, this was the news, this stock price went down, big news about this company, blah blah blah. Very conversational, right? And then you'll go and like make your breakfast, and then all powered by your satellite internet, like all seamlessly working. And then you go downstairs, and yeah, your taxi rocks up, takes you into work, and then you go into work, do your day's work, and then your AI assistant like knows that you're then at work. It's been approved. Like you then like maybe put your personal one away. That's your personal account. You sit down at your desk, you put your headphones in again, because work will just become something where, unless you're talking to another person or you're in a meeting, again, you'll just put headphones in. This is honestly, this is the way things are going, people. Mark my words. You'll sit at your desk at work and you will have an AI assistant again, but it'll be your work AI assistant, and you will just talk and it will do everything. You'll just be like, da, 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 do this, like summarize this data for me, read through my emails, reply. There'll be no more like all grammar checking and spell checking and all that, which I'm dyslexic, right? That takes up a chunk of my day. I waste so much time doing that. That'll all be over because it'll just be very conversational. You'll just speak your email, reply. Your AI assistant will have the AI reply. It will suggest like changing phrasing, rewriting it so it reads really nicely. Bang, that will go off. And again, all your tasks will you'll just go through them, and a vast majority of them will be your AI assistant. And then you'll get to the end of the day, and then you get in your taxi ride home, and you do your shop. Like your AI assistant will be like, oh, I know the last time you bought groceries was like 6 days ago. You must be running short on some stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, I am. Do you want me to arrange a grocery shop for you to be delivered like tomorrow evening? And like, yeah, that would be amazing. Okay, cool. What do you want? And then you're like, right, order eggs, order this, order that, order bread, blah blah blah, order butter, da 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 da. Right, are booked, paid for. It'll pay for it by like scanning your eyes or scanning your face or whatever. And it will have all that details, or it will use your voice as payment. And then you'll get home and it'll be like, oh, do you want me to play some music? And it'll be like, yeah, play music when I get in. Because your home will be all like AI, it'll be like a smart home. It'll be like, oh, is my partner home? Is my husband or my wife home? Yeah, they're home. Yeah, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, oh, wicked, do you want me to announce that you're 5 minutes away? Yeah, please tell them that I'm 5 minutes away. Or you can you'd call them and just say that you're like 5 minutes away, and then you come in and like the music's playing and like, and then you can chat. You can tell your AI system what else you want, or you can say, oh, AI, you can go away for a bit now, and then you chat to your partner, and then you have your evening, and then like you set your alarms, and then rinse and repeat. So that is how I think. That's my biggest predictions going forward. What the world will look like in 10 years. We're on the cusp of like a bit of a revolution. AI, well, just with all the AI stuff, right, in terms of driverless cars and AI assistants and augmented reality glasses and that kind of technology. VR, forget VR. It's nonsense, right? AI has always been a small little fringe niche thing, and it will still be around, but just it won't be that popular like it isn't now. The reason Apple have got into it, and a lot of people don't understand, they're all like, why has Apple done a headset? Like, yeah, look, they've done a headset, but they want it to turn into an augmented reality pair of glasses. Trust me, that's the future. So that's it, guys. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's like really interesting future. I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait. Very, very exciting. I hope you guys are too. Let me know what you think. Smash a like and a sub. You know you want to. Don't fight the urge. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.